drifted alarmingly in the betting was, Felsted in the morning continued to drift. It was late on the exchanges to lose. It was something you'd see in a Dick Francis novel, Charles Burns.
The ground is soft.
It's heavy.
It's soft on times.
It's heavy.
Okay.
Hello and a big warm welcome to the Bar Steward's Inquiry Sunday Sermon. My name's Lee Keys, and joining me for today's show are John Lang. Good afternoon, John.
Change of line-up tonight. Me feng shui's all to hell.
Yes, it's knackered us all up as Chris Lorne Malvo has decided to play, I think, Dad's Taxi today in his 1989 Volvo going round Essex, giving lifts to all and sundry, and while playing his Genesis tapes. So replacing Chris tonight is our paddock guru, Adam Norman.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Great to be back.
Yes, and Adam's been beavering away this week at the Bridge and York, and he's I'm sure he's got some good followers for our listeners to look forward to. So, without further ado, gents, because it's a busy show, we've got lots to talk about, and we're going to start off with the review of Friday, Saturday, and today. And I've included Friday this. I don't usually do that, but I felt the Loop winner at Goodwood on Friday and the predominant winner wouldn't look out of place. John and Adam, I wouldn't look out of place. At any sort of major meeting going forwards. They really impressed me. John, first of all, what did you make of the filly of the shirt who can do no wrong at the moment, Sea Silk Road?
Yeah, really impressive. I like the way she made the ground up and showed a cracking attitude. She's very lightly raced. You'd say she's only going to go one way from that. Yeah, very hard to crab, and a nice filly going forward.
Well, I felt that Eternal Pearl, the runner-up, shaped very well on debut behind Grand Dam. Clearly a very tricky filly. She got upset beforehand at Ascot, and she made ground very late at Ascot, but in a similar style to Grand Dam. Yeah. So it gave that start. And I rate Grand Dam, the runner-up at York. I think that's a really good filly. So Eternal Pearl was on my... I actually backed Eternal Pearl at the prices. I thought it was value. And I was impressed the way she ran. She's still very raw. She's hooded. I do think... But she's a very talented filly. So I think that's really strong form. I think that you can go to bed with those two in any sort of future entries that if they put them in sort of winnable events. I mean, Eternal Pearl's entered for the Coronation. She's not got another entry at Ascot at the moment. Have the Wolferton entries been done, John, or is that...
Not yet. I'm champing at the bit for them to come out, and a bit of betting, actually.
Yeah. But anyway, whatever they decide to target, Sea Silk Road of the shirts has an entry in the Ribblesdale, and I think you'd probably expect them to take that. 10-1 for the Ribblesdale seems a bit large to me at the moment. I think she's probably... Do you think that's a bit big, John? 10 for the Ribblesdale?
I think it probably is, because you'll probably find there's mostly Oaks entered fillies ahead of her in the betting.
Yeah.
As usual, it'd be less than a slack handful of fillies go from the Oaks to that.
Yeah.
So just by process of elimination, really, she ought to be shorter if she turns up.
Yeah. And going on to the Loop, the predominant.
Hello.
We showed why we are the number one podcast, and we've got the number one followers recorded podcast on the internet in the UK today. John has been pretty brilliant, I've got to say. He's given out Sir Bob Parker, which is obviously going in the Derby. He gave out Aiden, which, you've seen what Aiden's done so far. He's also given out Lionel, which won the predominant, and certainly looks like a ledger horse to me, John.
Absolutely. You couldn't really crab that very much at all, really. I mean, he was a little bit keen early on. Maybe took a while to get going, but showed a terrific attitude. like most of the family have done, to be fair. There's no crabbing anything out of that mare or her race record, whatever, you know. I mean, he looks progressive. He's got substance to him. You'd expect him to last the full season. I just hope that they swerve the Curragh and the King George.
You know why you want them to swerve the Curragh. Because
well, if they don't swerve the Curragh, I hope Jamie Spencer's busy.
You don't want Spencer's arse up in the air, turning in about 10 lengths down, held up in last at the Curragh. That's no good.
No. Whereas at Doncaster, it'd be an entirely different proposition, wouldn't it? So I'd hope they just play it very, very quietly now, and I'd be happy with next run in Voltiger, to be honest.
Voltiger Ledger, something like that, yeah.
Don't mind.
Yeah, or knowing Sergeant Wilson, because he's close, he might do Gordon.
Yes, yeah.
Because that 1 mile 3, so he's thinking, well, Gordon, 1 mile 4.
Course form, it'll be well watered.
Yeah, you can win there held up. It's not necessarily a front runner's paradise.
No.
So yeah, that could certainly happen. Yeah. So those two, I thought, those going forward, and there was one more though, which to me looked pattern class. The Baron, who's absolutely on fire in terms of having the favourite for the Derby, when me and John were probably saying that he's finished. But John did say, apart from that one that won the Nottingham Maiden, he hasn't got anything. And the one that won the Nottingham Maiden is now the 9-4 favourite for the Derby and Desert Crown. But Crystal Estrella, I thought, absolutely blew me away.
Yeah, she pitched up, didn't she?
That is so impressive. The foot. She was level pegging with Researcher probably just about a furlong out, and she's gone over 4 clear in a furlong. Only good horses can do that, I think.
She'll probably be a Ribblesdale-ish type of filly. I think maybe more Goldtrees, maybe usual slow progress type, you know. Yeah,
no fancy entries from the Baron, but she's one that
probably looking Goldtrees in August, then you would have thought.
Indeed. Now, Adam, you was at Catterick on Friday night. Anything there that we can take from Catterick for Billy Bunters going forwards, and we can make some money?
Not really.
Well, that's Catterick.
I've put one down in my horses to follow. It won't have been missed by anybody. It's called Sir Robin. It looks a very sort of backward, big, rangy animal. Surprisingly, did quite well on debut at the track a couple of weeks ago, and they dropped it in trip, and it showed plenty of speed to lie up, and then just went further and further clear. It's been given a racing post rating of 89, which is pretty high, isn't it, for a twice raced Catterick sort of novice. I thought it was a good race, actually. It was a good paddock. The second horse I really like, Close Quarters, looks at a nicely bred horse, cost a 6-figure sum. She's coming to the boil. I think she wants a straight 6. She's been around the bend a couple of times, Ponty and Catterick, and didn't handle it at all. I thought it was an okay sort of maiden, and there might be 1 or 2 come out of it. There's one further back, Alfred Cove, a classic O'Meara type that'll probably be 75-80 further down the line. Wasn't seen with a chance, but hit the line really hard. So Alfred Cove might be the one to have a look at. Or if you watch that race back, it might be mildly interesting at the level.
Okay, so Adam Norman owns Sir Robin. Do you think this is going to be a sort of what's the plan next? Do you think they go probably handicaps, or do they even go a step further and go into some kind of conditions or stakes races?
I mean, I wouldn't know how to rate a race like that, but as I say, it's clearly an 80 odd type, isn't it? So it's got so much scope. And it just looks green. It's just looking about itself. But a lot of speed. I can't think where they'd go with it. But you'd think it would be better on a straight track where it can just let itself rip, rather than just going around the tight turn like that over 6.
Yeah.
Who knows? There might be a conditions race next time for it. But with Burke flying at the moment, you'd be intrigued to see where they went with it.
Yeah, the carrots there at Spigot Lodge are on fire. It's I mean, you had one today when it York that pulled its nuts off Eileen Dubb in one of those Sky Bet races. Absolutely carted the pilot all the way around and wasn't doing handsprings. So the carrots there are good. And Sir Robin, that's one to watch forward for punters. Adam thinks that will step forward physically, etc., etc. Plenty of improvement to come. So it's good stuff when you get Paddock to back up the visuals and the and the performance as well. Sometimes, so all the boxes tick there for Carl Burke's horse. Okay, we'll go on to Saturday. Obviously, it was a big race day. It was the Tattersalls Irish 2,000 guineas at the Curragh. Native Trail failed to impress quite a few judges, actually. A lot of people not impressed with it. I want to get your take on it, please, gents. John, start with you.
I thought he was all right.
Yeah, I had him running below form, John. I had him running a bit flat.
I only give him 109 for the win.
I get him higher than that. I get him 116. I felt that Imperial Fighter had ran his race, and I think he is when he gets it right, he is 110. But he would only be listed Group 3 level.
I struggle to give Jims any more than the 102. See, it was so.
Yeah, I get your point. Some horses with giving them. I mean, the Racing Post have gone bananas on Native Trail and giving it 120. They reckon Sheila Lavery's has improved £12 on anything it's ever done.
Yeah,
with an awkward start. So I mean, it fell out the traps in New Energy, and that's only rated 102. So I seriously think Native Trails ran very flat for whatever reason. Do you think he's ready for a mile and a quarter?
He's had 3 quick runs. He might be ready for a little break.
Fair point.
Only give his prep as well,
Yeah, you almost forget it's almost Jim Bolger-esque. This, like you said, 3 runs in a month.
He's a big horse. He might not have really turned his full strength yet. So, I mean, it's debatable, but I'd maybe knock him off a bit and bring him back at August time. I certainly wouldn't be going Ascot, I think.
No, I'll be surprised. But we said that before about Caribus when they did it, when they backed up quick with that. So
Caribus for Ascot, haven't they? So
yeah, like you say, it probably will miss Ascot. I would have thought.
I was disappointed. I mean, I think that watched it on TV at York with a couple of others, and it was just looked really hard work, didn't it? For whatever reason, he is strong in that last sort of 100 yards, isn't he? That seems to be the strongest part of his race, but and he sort of put it to bed there. But it was clearly not top class at all. I didn't think, not that I'm an expert at these things, but the instinctively thought was to oppose it next time, certainly if it came out in the next 6 weeks.
Yeah.
If they did, I mean, would they do something as daft as think about the Prince of Wales? Is it at Ascot? Would they think about 10 furlongs at Ascot?
Stretching that with a 3-year-old, I'd say.
Yeah, it's 4-year-old plus that race.
Oh, is it? Sorry, what's the 10 furlong race? Is the one?
Yeah, there's Reach only a Group 3.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, I think the next sort of logical target for Native Trail is probably that if I earned it, I'd probably have a look at that.
Killer race stepping up that one now.
It is.
Where do they go? Do they go abroad for another miler?
They might do. I mean, there's some French races, like at Deauville and things like that. So later in the summer, so they might just play it cute because both of them are going to end up at sea. Caribus and Native Trail. So like literally they'll keep them apart. They'll keep different projects. But yeah, it's kind of. I think I agree with John. I think John's assessments about bob on in terms of 3. I didn't think of that. I forgot it ran in the Craven. So it's Craven, Guineas. That's enough probably till later this summer. I would if I owned it. You'd be thinking, what else can you do now? So we move on to Goodwood, and the William Hill Festival Stakes, a listed event over 10 furlongs, was won in impressive fashion by Majestic Dawn, with moaning punters all over the place on Twitter. Moaning like you wouldn't believe. Moan. Nick Davis moaning, Zilzal moan. They're all moaning, saying the jockeys need hanging in that race for letting Bent Jim have an easy lead on Paul Cole's charge. I thought, in a way, it was a bit of a masterclass from Jim also, because if you watch him early, he goes very wide against that far rail, and I've got a theory, and because I know several courses that do it, they don't water because they don't think any else goes there, so they don't water it. So to say, obviously, they're saving money and saving time and energy. Why would you water a far rail that no one's going to go on?
Is it under the trees as well there?
No, it's in a loop. It's in a loop. So
we go.
Yeah,
okay.
it's on the inner loop, and I just thought it was a masterclass from Jim to do that, because I reckon they'll have walked that, or someone will have to do it Colliard, and they've said, oh, it's firmer out there. Because why would Jim deliberately do that? Why would he stick glue-like to that far rail before then moving back across? I thought it was I might be totally wrong. I might be barking completely wrong tree, and it hung there, and he had no choice. I don't know, but it was interesting effort from the rest of the lads that sort of didn't bother. John, did you watch that race?
I did indeed, yes. I didn't think the jockeys excelled themselves really, letting him go as far clear as they did. But there's a thing where if you're getting your own house out of its comfort zone to chase a tearaway lady, you're not going to win anyway.
Yeah.
So they were maybe going as fast as they wanted to after him. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the best horse in the race on the figures, wasn't he?
Yeah. I said on the pod that he'd be different class, but he does pull hard, and that's the problem with betting pre-play. But he looked different class to the opposition if everything went right, and it did. So there we go. Nothing else to see there. Lone Eagle made his reappearance in the Tapster Stakes. Disappointment for him. Well beaten third realm under Sylvester Iron Hands D'Souza. He's off to King Kong, is D'Souza. Everyone's cheering. He just needs to take a few others with him, Martin Harley and a few other idiots. But yeah, so Lone Eagle, disappointing, John. And we've had a question on that because Nick Palfrey says here, right? You have a group horse.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you least like to train it? And he makes two examples. I thought it was quite harsh. He says Easterby, Winter Power, or Mead Lone Eagle. I thought it was quite harsh on Timbo there. Happy Tim.
Very much so. I mean, he sounds a bit like he's done his bollocks yesterday, expecting Happy Tim to have one fit first time up.
Yeah, he's not got the best record.
And there was plenty against her yesterday. I thought, well, I mean, we were against her really on the pod on the Friday night, weren't we? I mean,
yeah.
I'd not judge him on that. I mean, I'd maybe reserve judgment till the Nunthorpe. With that.
When it wins the Nunthorpe, we're going to give it him.
yeah. Keep the name on file, and we'll let him have it Nunthorpe night if we don't have pod or something.
When it goes blast off, and just keeps going, and nothing gets near it. That's the track to do that. Martin Mead, not Noel Mead, but Martin Mead.
I think this is a bit harsh because I mean, really, Martin Mead's only had one pot at it, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think what's happened with Lone Eagle, the last run in the King George, and I bet it in the last year's King George, and I just think. I think something was. I think it was the firm ground that completely fucked it. To be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it could have absolutely floored the horse. I mean, we've seen King Georges and Eclipses before, where horses have gone there as like hugely promising 3-year-olds, whatever, and come out with it and they've been dead, really. I mean. Yeah. He's trained some good horses, Martin Mead. I mean, what would be best to him? Maybe that advertise. Standing at the National Stud now. I don't think he did a lot wrong with that. I think it's harsh to crab him on his record with a limited number of group horses.
Well, he's not getting the blue blood tackle, is he? Unlike unlike some trainers that have got a nice steady supply of Coolmore or
I mean, the question was, who would you least like to train a group horse if you've got one? I mean,
I know your answer. I know.
I mean, exactly. I mean, my horse box would fastidiously drive very quickly through Midland. So Not stop for anyone, no matter what. Red lights, anything, I just wouldn't be stopping.
Yeah. And Duffield.
No.
You won't fight George, though, John.
No, I wouldn't, you're right, because I think he looks like he bites and does groin stuff as well. Anything to win, George.
That just reminds me when, was it Callum Rodriguez? They had a big, Anne Duffield and Callum Rodriguez had a big tiff after a ride Callum had given one of hers. And I think it was, I hope it is Callum, it's not another jockey, and I'm not getting this wrong. But she had a right go at him, and he just turned around and says, "Fuck you, Anne Duffield." And that's what I've got. That's what I call him when he rides.
Oh, wasn't that other Brazilian fella? What was his name? Silva or something.
Oh, sorry, yeah, he was.
Rui de Silva.
Yeah, Raul de Silva.
Raul de Silva.
Yeah, sorry, Callum Rodriguez.
Sorry.
Raul de Silva. I always get things wrong. Too much alcohol.
Yeah.
but yeah, that was so funny. So whenever Raul de Silva rides, it was fuck you and Duffield. And Callum Rodriguez by the sound of it as well.
Yeah, just throw them all in together. Those Mexicans.
Yeah.
Probably your beers are the one on Roberto. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. What a ride that was on Roberto. It broke the hearts of many. Did Roberto when he beat Brigadier Gerard? Yeah. The heart sank. Did you back Roberto that day, John?
No, I was only 5.
Oh, I know, but you
back the Brigadier.
Oh, by the way, folks, we've got John on Derby week. We're going to do a special on John and his stout days. So you've got that to put up with on Derby week, but that should be a cracking listen. I'm going to get lots out of him.
Desert Crown and
I was just thinking that was so funny. Yeah. The pod goes ahead despite the fact that there's a crowd on really.
Yeah. So it's John and the Stout years coming up on Derby week. Who won't want to listen to that? All the stories. Yeah, I'm going to get them all out of him, even the ones he don't want to tell. I'm going to get him releasing all that past glories of the Stout days. Anyway, we'll move on and we'll go to Haydock on the Saturday, and obviously some class races there. I thought the Colombian Kid messed up on Mighty Ulysses, John, in the Silver Bowl.
He maybe went a bit stone. I think the winner's probably a bit better than we thought.
Yes, I agree.
They came away from everything else.
Strong form.
Yeah, they might still go to the SJP with the win, the runner-up.
Yeah.
Because he probably run better than ever there. He run better than I expected him to, actually. I mean, I said Friday night I had a nagging doubt about him. Well, he raised all that on Saturday. I was quite impressed with how he shaped, really. And as I say, he was in front soon enough. Yeah. No, it's strong form, that race. It's worth following. So if you were mad at Benoit, you've probably run into a good horse as well. I think they're both class acts, and I think Mighty Ulysses, that's probably the last you'll see of it in handicap company. Something like the Criterion would be ideal, I think, over 7 at Newmarket for that, maybe later. The Sandy Lane was won again by the Burke machine. There's 2 trainers at the moment. Well, you've got Burke and Haggis at the moment. It's winners for fun. It's just press and go, and they just go. El Caballo, what? I mean, God, if you could own, I wouldn't care if horses like this were rated 60 or 116, but El Caballo is the epitome of you won't fucking beat me, John. Yeah. I've tried to fucking beat him the last twice and got nutted.
Yeah.
I backed the shirt horse at Newcastle, and then I backed Mike Lyon's horse yesterday, and he's starting to annoy me, as Jimmy White once said about Stephen Hendry.
It is. I mean, Tiber Fleur broke my heart that day at Newcastle because I had
we were all on then, weren't we?
Real serious bet, big bets, chip shop bets, ice cream van bets, that kind of thing. You can buy an ice cream van with the winnings. And sadly, Burke and and his Spigot Lodge carrot machine churned out more. And absolutely, what a horse to own for the owners. I'm envious to a degree that I've always wanted to own a horse that tries.
The glory days are back at Sprocket Lodge, aren't they? You know, I mean, we haven't star like this since Sam Hall was in charge.
Well, now
it was a long lane time with Chris Thornton doing that.
You have to follow the carrots. Good call from you, John, in the Temple. On our pod, Harry Seaber, John said, was the one to be on. Monster prices, double carpet. And that ran a blinder. I watched it very closely, and
what you were saying.
And I was more interested in Anthony Britton's, to be honest, because I'm thinking if that wins, honestly, I was ready to.
I didn't know about the stout special. I think we need an Anthony Mel Britton special out here. And Miguel faithful with the story of when Mel ran one twice in a day.
Well, I mean, we can do both. We can certainly do both. It's the life and times of John Lang, which is more interesting than most folks, I can tell you.
What would be the ideal setup for Arecibo then, John? Would it be back to the Rowley Mile,
like the King's Stand last year? You know, I mean, that's cleared in advance completely. A track that favours it. You just need a suicidal pace at 5. And Jamie Spenny sat with his ass in the air 2 furlongs out. Yeah. Prime out, you know, get a clear and hope it dies completely in front, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, we move on to York, and it's not really, to be fair to York's card, it was a nice card Saturday, but it's not really, in fact, no, fuck York, it's not worth talking about Saturday. But this is where we're going to bring in our paddock guru, because this is important. Me and John aren't bothering talking about handicaps and shit like that. But Adam Norman is. What have you got for us that you saw on Saturday?
Cool. It was hard graft, wasn't it? Bloody hell! These big handicaps. It's yeah. I mean, Truly Acclaim looked $1 million and was quite hard to oppose in that 7 furlong handicap. Drawn 1, had everything in its favour, really. I don't know where they would go from there. Wasn't that strong a race, I didn't think. Pia Estrella's the interesting one out of that. Got pretty stirred up beforehand. If you look at her form, it's pretty solid, you know, right through 2-year-old wins, and then this year her form stood up really well. Even last time out at Nottingham when she was disappointing. I don't know why she's so fizzy beforehand, because she's won it twice at Beverley last year as a juvenile, and you've got to stay quite well to win over nearly a mile there. So not quite sure what's going on, but if you watch her yesterday, she was drawn 18 on that 7 furlong shoot and it darted right across under Jason Hart. So did loads in the first sort of 5 furlongs and then didn't quite see it out. But I think she's really interesting, Pia Estrella, because she's well handicapped to fly in a one of these type of races. Tinkler's horses are quite interesting to me. They're all quite sort of chubby and carry plenty of condition, but she'll turn up in one of these. Obviously, the main talking point was the juvenile victory of Brad Sell.
Oof.
It was extraordinary, really. I fancied. I did back her. These are the big races for me, these juvenile races, and she had a little bit about her. She's quite, I say it's obviously a colt, but it's quite sort of compact, strong animal. But I like the way he moved. Just had a bit of quality about it, and it's bred to be speedy. Tasley, you'll know all about. The dam's not thrown anything, but was quite precocious himself, winning 3 times as a juvenile, and went backwards as a 3-year-old, but. It's kind of the time is now for Brad Sell, and I don't know if you're doing any timings on that on yesterday's card.
I've not got the sectionals through yet.
I'd be really intrigued. I mean, I went down to the winners, and McDonald was chatting away, and he was saying I just couldn't go slower in it. I couldn't go any slower. You know, he just had to let it go at sort of 2 out. Because it was just absolutely doing half speed, you know, and the rest would just beat. And it was a good paddock. it's quite, he had horses with previous experience, and Looking for Lindard won a race at Nottingham. There were one or two others. Now, obviously, look, there was a very impressive winner at the Curragh, wasn't there? Who is it Blackbeard, the Aidan O'Brien horse, who's one of the favourites for the Coventry. So I'm not an expert in trying to work out the form, but it was pretty sensational stuff to win by 9 lengths.
Do you not think some of these York 2-year-old races are absolutely mental, though, Ed?
Yes, I do.
I don't. In what way?
We were discussing this on Twitter after the race. I mean, they've finished strung out like fucking jumpers, haven't they? Really? I mean,
what does it mean, though, John? I don't know, John. I don't know. What do you make of that?
Well, usually it's a Grade 1 track. You'd probably expect maybe 6 to 8 length covering the the field, really. Yeah. But I mean, it wasn't just the fact that you've got a tearaway winner. You've got like 3 lengths back to the 4th and another 5 lengths back to the 5th. Yeah.
It was the same at the Dante meeting, wasn't it? There was a 2-year-old race like that.
It seems just such a funny track, you know.
Well, it's
2-year-olds when they've never been there before. The only thing I'd say you can bank on with a 2-year-old race there is that the Kevin Ryan 2-year-olds will all act there.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I think you're really tucking your head up your ass and jumping off and hoping for the best.
I mean, there's always been a massive debate about York. Obviously, reclaimed marshland. We always say when York gets a bit wet and there's either heavy watering or there's just natural rainfall. They do get strung out for whatever reason. You can see them all bunched up about 3 out at York. You can see the camera shot and you think, well, there looks about 5 lengths between first and last at the 3 pole. And then watch them at the line. Some are a furlong and a half behind, as if like that quickening rush at York. Because you look at the mile an hours when they quicken it in the straight, they can get up to clocks.
Case in point. On Saturday, I mean, you got a Carl Burke horse in that race. I had it running 69 first time up at Ayr.
Yeah.
75 when it won at Nottingham. It's at fucking 37 yesterday.
Well, yeah, they just seem to stop to nothing, as if the big fractions it exacerbates it at York for whatever reason, because it's so flat. And so they get some real pace up. There's no undulations. It's flat as a pancake, and it literally is. You've got to be able to quicken. If you can't, it's if some of them just hit a ceiling and go, "Whoa, I can't do that," and stop, because 3 out to the line. I've never seen a track in the country that produces as much strung out finishes on the flat as York. Like literally from 3 out to the line, it's as if you've got a big group of horses and you think, oh, everything's got a chance here, and then they just drop away like out the screen.
It's like 2/3 of every field fail to act.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
so it's a funny track.
So what do you make of the performance, though? Would you not?
Incredible.
But how would you rate it, though, John?
Hang on, I'll tell you what I give it. Hang on.
I mean, is it? Would you put it in the top 6 in the Coventry, for example?
Yeah.
You'd have to think about the Coventry with it after that. I mean, I give it 90 plus.
That was Dillon. Remember Dillon? Paul Cole.
I remember it well. Yeah, Paul Cole's that 2-year-old. Yeah.
That just reminded me of Dillon. Alan Munro when Dillon won.
That was a big unit, wasn't it?
And it just didn't move. Like you said, PJ didn't move.
Well, but did it remind you of Dillon at York? Dillon wins the Coventry and then goes to York and gets dicked.
And gets dicked in gymcrack and gets well stuffed. Exactly. It's the York mystery. There is a mystery at York. It is. It's the one track I'd be dubious about in certain time. When something wins by big digits at York, I'm more dubious there than I am at other top tracks.
I think if I could give the race some sort of credit, I'd say that the second was experienced, having its 3rd outing, one of Happy Tim's, which looks an okay sort. The 3rd is quite a nice prospect, was first time out. I've given him a good write-up. Reward Smile, who drifted in the market. It's quite a sturdy animal that looked like he would come on for it. The fourth was just Janet, who showed some promise the previous time. So there's two horses that have run well, or have shown some form and experience previously, and they've come 5 clear of the Nottingham run. I know the Nottingham has not run its race, but I just think that the third unraced Reward Smile has sort of split a couple of 2-year-olds that had run to a fair level. So I thought Reward Smile was the one to take out of it next time, when it'll be a lot straighter. It was an interesting race worth talking about, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
I think it's ranked to 100 personally. I think it's done the 3-figure debut. I do.
When you just I know, like on Twitter you'll say, or on Racing TV, like the pundit will go, "Oh, I was there that day," as if it lends some credence to the performance, and it's like, who cares if you were there? It just means you remember it. It jogs your memory. But for me, go on, John.
I think 100's pushing it, because it's done that on the snap.
Well, that's the point. I think being there, and it's
100 on the snap. You're talking 6 to 1 to the guineas, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, as I said,
I'll tell you what was impressive, lads. To me, as a sort of a rookie sort of flat watcher, was the fact that it did what it did, and it put space between them, like well over a furlong out. But it still hit the line pretty hard without him lifting the stick. So first time out, I've got to give it maximum credit. And
it's the best colt I've seen this side of the water anyway.
Right.
Obviously, we don't know when we get them all marrying up, but I certainly think that they'll be going for the Coventry with that. Okay, we've got to move on.
Yeah, go on.
Time-wise, we have to move on.
Okay.
Go to the Sunday fair, because we've got the Curragh, really. Again, fuck York. It's a great it's a great initiative in the Sky Bet series, but
fuck it.
It's boring. Anyway,
what a card though. Christ, just flat out, big field handicaps, just were absolutely relentless, wasn't it?
That's what you get in King Kong. Basically, the Sky Bet aren't daft. They put good money on, so you get King Kong style handicaps where it's 6 to 1 the field, because everyone wants to win the big money. Right, we go to the Tattersall Gold Cup. Alan Kerr, John, getting up to beat High Definition. Everyone's slagged off.
Yeah, I used to like High Definition, as you know.
You did.
Back in the day. I backed a Linker today, so I don't think I'd have liked High Definition much if he'd held on. Nice to see him run a good race, really, and very hard to crab what he did. He's probably run the race of his life there, setting a strong pace. He'll probably go to the Prince of Wales now at Ascot, and he'll get well dicked, because they'll try and make the running again, won't they? Because I think that's out now. So.
Yeah, the thing is, anyone starts crabbing the form, the time was very fast.
Yeah.
Today, really fast.
Can't on the clock at all.
If people go, well, I don't believe this form. It looks shit. It doesn't look quite right. The time just says otherwise.
Yeah, he's run a blinder, hasn't he? Right.
Broke standard by over a second. Nothing else on the day today at Curragh has got near breaking standard.
I'll try to be fairly circumspect, but I'm giving 118 for that.
Yeah, the shirt is the man of the moment, and he had the German Guineas winner today with another prospect. Is it Matt? I forget the name of the horse.
Majloom or something.
Majloom or something. Yeah, Sheikh Ahmed's horse with the shirt did amazing to win, because it missed the kick, and it gave the one in second about 5 lengths and still mowed it down. Whatever the shirt's giving them, they've probably all got their own shirts, John. In the can you see it in the stable box?
Somebody put on Twitter yesterday, what's the shirt trading these arses? I said, looks like everybody else's arses.
It is incredible. Yeah,
eating up the opposition, aren't they?
Yeah. I think Andy Richmond put up a stat the other day. I think he's well over 40% this month.
It's with farm, isn't he?
And it's not 40% in Beverley Maidens and and Northern Handicaps. It's 40% in group races. he's thrashing Appleby, he's thrashing them all. He's got them all he's got them all bent over his knee, John, at the moment, and he's giving them a good hiding.
He's got him in a better position than we had Denise Coates in on Friday night, and that's saying something.
Right, so we'll go on to the land weights. Pearls galore, one for Paddy Toomey. I think I was disappointed with her, actually, because I thought she was going to win by 6 wickets. She ended up like scrambling home from an horse that's only rated 100, which is a bit disappointing. But then let's come to the Irish 1,000 guineas to finish off the review, John. Homeless Songs totally blew me away. This surely settles the debate now with anyone in the world. The Homeless Songs is the best 3-year-old filly over a mile in training, without a doubt.
I'm sure Harry Herbert will want a word with you over that, but yeah. With yourself, very much so. I think she was hugely impressive today.
Yeah, and Concert Hall maybe for the Oaks in third. She was staying on late again nicely.
I think if your man's got an Oaks filly, that'll be it. But very much he's got an Oaks filly, really.
And me and you both think that Tuesday is a bit gearless.
Yeah, she just seems a bit tripless. She's not 3 yet, is she? She's late 4, but you could see her doing a typical Aiden thing and running 11 times this year and really improving at the end of the year, couldn't you? But she's not one for me at the minute.
No. Briefly then on Anti-Post, the Oaks, I think Nash was already being cut 10s into 6, and we highlighted Nash was claims to Emily Upjohn. I thought that was the value. That's now gone. It's now into 6. I agree with that cut. I think Nash was a genuine contender, but John won't like Holly Doyle. He just doesn't like Holly Doyle on anything that maybe grabs a grip. And John, for the Derby though, you tell me that you keep nibbling away on one still.
Yes.
Come on then.
One of my fads to follow, Sir Bob Parker.
Yeah.
Following the Sergeant Wilson interview on the Nick Lux show, I started to put 2 and 2 together and probably made 11. But anyway, cut a long story short, as I said to yourself, if you had 2 horses like Lionel and Sir Bob Parker 2 weeks ago when the Derby was thinned out to 21 acceptors, which one would you have taken out? He chose to jettison Lionel, and he's left Sir Bob Parker in. Sir Bob Parker, I'm convinced, needs an even pace over 12. He hasn't had an evenly run race yet in his career. All 3 runs have been in France. He's by Sayoni, so there's every chance he'll appreciate better ground at Epsom. Touch wood, it doesn't piss down. Well, I don't know. If it does piss down, we know he can get through heavy ground anyway, so we maybe don't have a ground worry with him. Out of a Montjo mare, he'll stay all day. 100 to 1 is fucking ridiculous, in my opinion. Yeah.
No, listen, we highlighted one last year, didn't we, on the preview? It was big. Richard Annans, the eventual runner-up at massive prices, because it ran second to Minerva, and we knew that Minerva was probably going to be 110 plus, and we couldn't see how that were 150s. John, I genuinely think you've got one here at a big price. I like you said on Twitter, you've made bold claims. You've said this will beat more than beats it, and I completely agree with that. So to be that sort of price, I agree with John. Let's all get on Sergeant Wilson and join the Sergeant Wilson band.
And I mean, if you book Spenny to ride it, we just hope the Aiden peloton goes mental on the front end, and for me, we're banging business.
Indeed.
It's certainly bred for the extra yardage, isn't it? You know, siblings of.
Well, if anyone wants affirmation of this, just listen to Nick Luck's podcast after you've listened to ours, and don't listen to his ever again. But listen to his, and Sergeant Wilson says he's very confident. He's very bullish. You want to listen to it?
Yeah, I mean, he did say, he said, well, we did consider the French Derby, and while you could run okay there and finish 5th or 6th. you're better off going for a race you can win. Them's his words, not mine.
Right, we've done with boring reviews. Everyone wants gossip and shit now. This is what you listen for. This is the bit. This is the bit where you skip on YouTube. You skip all our crap, and you get to this bit, which is all the seediness in racing and all. And you want us to slag everybody off, don't you? And we will. So we certainly will. So coming first of all for the slaggings. Is Mr. Kieran Cotter, the Irish gypsy that certainly has made hay over the years by giving them cobalt, it seems. And a very damning fine came his way of 30,000, I think, in total. Apparently the levels of cobalt, the Irish Horse Racing Board described it as drenched in cobalt, John, when it won.
Drenched.
A wash with cobalt.
Absolutely, levels beyond belief. Apparently, they found needles in the yard, but obviously, that there was nothing in them. But there was nothing to prove that there was anything in the yard that they were administered. But lots of syringes, etc.
Didn't he try the old stuff thing?
Oh yeah. He wasn't aware of this going on at all.
No. Yeah.
They didn't fall for that, and they gave him 30 grand fine. Now, some people say, why is it then? For example, let's bring something else up. Young jockey Finlay Marsh returned to the saddle for the first time in 18 months on Saturday because the 23-year-old was banned for 6 months after he admitted to betting on horses during a gambling addiction. So the poor lad's got 6 months for having a few lucky 15s, which apparently that's all he was doing. And all of a sudden, someone's giving them cobalt and they don't get banned.
Wow. Yeah.
The problem is with racing that, and say if Mo Farah got done for, like with Salazar, and there were big rumours that he were at it. Let's say Mo Farah got found out in his prime. They ban him. That's it. You're out. You're gone. You get a few years ban. So why in racing is it different? I think there's one reason I can point why it's different, because if you're a trainer, you live there. You live in the accommodation. It's your yard. You own the land. So, but then why can't we just say, no, that you can no longer train. No associates of you can no longer train. But then would you get legal challenges? Let's say if the brother wanted to train, or the sister wanted to train, or the uncle wanted to train. Do you get legal challenges?
Interesting point.
It's quite muddy waters, isn't it?
Well, it is. It's different to, say, cycling, where eventually Armstrong was found out, and it sort of brings the whole sport to its knees, and you have to rebuild the whole thing. I think racing, if there was an expose that brought to light, rampant drug taking, or drug giving, of the horses, then you make good points there that it's a much cloudier issue, isn't it? With families involved and generational wealth and all that sort of thing. But is that a reason for protecting such an institution? Yeah.
Well, like basically, I mean, like if this happened in King Kong, you're gone. You're out.
Yeah.
You've finished. It's good night. That you're finished. And I always think because the deterrents aren't sufficient, as in a 30 grand fine. This is a man that basically sold a King Kong owner a horse called Shiny One back in the day. It was called Woodford General when it raced in Ireland. It pissed up in an handicap by about 8 lengths, probably cobalt, and then didn't win since in Hong Kong. Got tailed off all the time and retired. So I mean, if you mess with Irish gypsies that were easy in handicaps, you've got to have a red flag. And the thing is, I've got a mole on this that tips me off some information, and I can release some of it. I can't release all of it because I'll be in trouble. The assistant in Cotter's yard is someone called Danny Murphy. And that's in the Racing Post article. So I'm not revealing anything that I shouldn't do there. Well, his sister works for the Irish Horse Racing Board. She's now on 6 months sick leave, apparently. And it's interesting that a prominent figure in the Irish horse racing board tipped off a major trainer in Ireland. Again, I can't name him because, again, it's going to be like you're in trouble. But it's big. He's a big trainer, and they moved 30 horses immediately out of the yard. This is cast iron info. This is not like hearsay and he said, she said. This is mustard. And I can also tell you that a Racing Post journalist currently has a story on this that he wants to print in the Racing Post, and he's busting to do it. But there's an injunction by said trainer. So basically, this is where we're at. So when people start saying, "Oh, it's conspiracy theories, drugs," there's no drugs, bullshit. It's rife, and I'm not just saying it's the Irish. I'm saying it's all over the place. Look at France, Cedric Rossi, police probes. You've only got to look at Charlie Appleby's strike rate, the Seth Fishlake affair in America, where he was beating the testing system. He developed a drug that would always beat the testing system. Now, and he sold the drug to Dubai. Dubai bought the drug off. He said that in court that the UAE had substantial amounts of it. So where are we at here? So we can all dance around the fire and go, "Oh, there's nothing to see here." But let's be fair. This is pretty damning stuff. As I said, how rife is this? Before anyone says, "Oh, well," I think it's pretty rife. I think for every case that you find out, there's probably another 100 cases going on, because it's like shoplifters. Shoplifters get caught. How many don't get caught? It's the same analogy. It's a tricky case, is that the Kieran Cotter one? But I know if people want him banned, but as I've said, what do? Do you then just say, right, no, you can no longer train, your brother, sister, uncle can't, and then they challenge it legally and say, we've done nothing wrong. What have we done wrong? How can you stop me from working and earning a living? So it's a very, very thin ground. Anyway, let's move on to something more fun. The £9 Lingfield sausage. John, Adam.
Oh, my God, yeah.
What's this all about?
That can't have been £9. That can't have been.
There was a filthy-looking sausage with some chips that looked like they had cigarette ash on, and this bogus tomato sauce.
Yeah,
looked like it had been 50-50 with water to make it go twice as far.
Yeah.
If that was £9, well.
The tomato sauce was literally as if Ginger Hitler had bought a bottle of tomato sauce. He got guests coming round.
Yeah.
And he thought, I'm not letting these bastards have Heinz tomato ketchup. They can bollocks. So
get piss in it.
Yeah, he's put it in a bottle. He's pissed in it, and he's watered it down. That literally is how it looked. It was absolutely dreadful. And we're coming on to race courses now, because obviously we've said on past shows about the attendance is down, and we do think that's obviously a cost of living issue. I think that is. I genuinely do. I think people are choosing they'll wait for the big summer days, the warm weather days, before they'll come back racing. At the moment, racing is probably an afterthought for most when you can watch it at home. But we come on to the betting ring. This is another area of racing, which is I find very sad. I don't know about you two. I mean, we remember the ring in the 80s, the 90s, and it was vibrant. It was full of trade, business. It was the place to be. You stand there in awe and look at the business taking place. Nowadays, it's a shell. You've literally got two spuds on a stool. With a smattering of punters just glaring into space. Probably don't know what they're doing, half of them. And the two spuds look at the book at the end, and if it says £67 green, they press it and press green on Betfair, and they've earned £7 on the race. And I'm sorry, but in some respects, that's why the ring's dying, because for a long time now, bookmakers have slagged off Betfair. And they've said, oh, Betfair's the death knell of the game, blah, blah, blah. But they're using it. They're using it to green up. They're not thinking. It's lazy. They're not thinking for themselves. They're not going there and taking a risk, and they're not going there and thinking, I'm gonna strike this horse. Or what's you guys' thoughts on the betting ring at the moment? How it is? I mean, would you two, Adam, John, would you two consider ever walking into the betting ring at the moment, or would you just on bet?
On the rare occasions I go racing now, I don't even consider going in the betting ring. Yeah, because
so sad.
Back in the day, you had people that were prepared to take a favourite on or take a chance this, that, or the other, and now it's just, well, as I say, there's no point walking around there because you can do it all on your phone on Betfair, and it's the same, you know.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I go racing a lot, and I do spend a lot of time in the betting rings, and you know, it is a very different experience nowadays. But I like to give them business. If it suits me, it'll suit them. You know, they do want liquidity. It's up to them whether they lay it off or not. Some of them stand them. I know a lot of them stand them. Some cut the bets in. It depends how big. There is some money coming back into the ring. You know, I think it's quite well known. There's a syndicate down south that's having big 4-figure bets going up and down the line. I think that might come back temporarily before the cash is nixed from society. I think there'll be a one last hurrah for betting in the ring. I still like betting the ring. That I can get on each way in the 8 and 9 runner races where I think there's massive value, and they are betting to pretty low percentages a horse. So that if you can make the effort, then some courses are harder to get. Like York is a bit of a hike from the paddock, especially when there's the amount of people that there were yesterday. I only went into the betting ring once, but generally speaking, I like to get in there and try and sort of get the vibe. And it's a totally different thing to what it was, like you say, Lee. Well, and it is very sad. It is very sad.
The Britbet thing is even more worrying for bookmakers because reading some of it, obviously Britbet now are in partnership with the tour. It's all one big tour. But race courses, bizarrely, are giving Britbet very valuable pitch what bookmakers will have to pay fortunes for. For example, they might stick one on the members' lawn, so the members don't have to walk, far from the gin and tonic, to go and bet on the rails. They could just literally walk. There's a Britbet, and it's not really clearly stated what Britbet is when it is the tour. But then you're catching unaware people. It's the style of a bookmaker's joint. And that's the big concern at the moment that the bookmakers have got, that this is unfair because the race courses are referring to the spaces at the tracks as satellite spaces. So these satellite spaces aren't defined as what they are, where they are, how prominent a position they've got in terms of taking punters away from the bookmakers. And what with the cashless courses, it's as if they want rid of the bookmakers. I mean, with the headline saying ARC welcome Britbet. Well, if ARC welcome Britbet, that's really bad. Yeah. If ARC welcome anything, it's bad. The only time when something's good for racing is when ARC are bleating and going, this is bad for us. That's good. That's good when ARC are moaning. Sadly, ARC are opening this with open arms. They're saying, "Come on, Britbet, yes, we want you." And this is a sad day for the ring. Now, for the ring to fight back, I've made a few points. I think we need characters larger than life, like we've had in the past, like Barry Dennis, Gary Wiltshire, Stephen Little. We've had many bookmakers in the ring that are just absolute top characters. That's probably a bit too much to ask. Maybe younger characters as well to connect with a younger audience. Maybe employ people that basically are sort of au fait with the younger audience. But more importantly, this is what I think they need to do, and this is what I'd bring. Give me a money backer, and I'll do it. Basically, you need to separate from the off course and Betfair. You need to offer prices that aren't available on Betfair and I know you'll see he'll get arbors turning up. Well, that's good. That brings fluid to the ring. Sometimes you have to stand up and be countered. 2.58 on the machine. Why can't they go 7-4? If you don't like a horse and you think it's a complete shit, right? If it's 2.58 on Betfair, why can't you in the ring saying 7-4? I will lay 7-4. And if one bookmaker does that every so often, I'm not saying every race, if you lay 7-4, 6-4 shots, you'll go skidding. That's the fact. But if you lay 7-4 about certain horses, like lost leaders, supermarkets, etc., you attract interest from the ring. There's punters there that are playing with the phone going, wait, it's 2.5 on Betfair, I'm getting 7-4, yeah? It brings energy back to the ring. You need a lost leader. You need someone to do it. And I'm not saying one particular bookmaker, other bookmakers. When you don't fancy a favourite, stripe the fucker. You know, that's what I'm saying. What's all this, you know, I know you make a book, but at the same time, you've got to provide some inspiration and pizzazz and bring some vibrance back to it, where me and John then might walk down from the stands and go, right, well, instead of betting on Betfair, look, he's 7-4. He don't like it. Well, he's 6-4. Well, I'll take the 7-4 then. Price, and you know, that's how it is. Before
yeah. Go on, yeah.
No, before Betfair.
Finish your rant.
They'd be doing that, wouldn't they? Before Betfair, if they couldn't look at Betfair and they had to bet to their opinion, like in the old days, not just lazily look at they'd be doing that. They'd be
I think what surprises me that even the more longer term layers don't seem to have any knowledge or much knowledge of the horses. I mean, you know, I chat to a few of them, but, you know, that I think in the old days they had the cards marked more often. There was
Absolutely.
there was more characters who would chat racing, you know, and they'd pick up loads of stuff. Whereas now there's no real chat pre-race, pre-meeting, you know, where stuff's picked up. The only sort of way they get the cards marked really nowadays is if owners come into the ring, you know, and say, you know, want decent sized bets and all that sort of thing. There's just not the. I don't know. It's weird. You know, I know layers that have been on the course for, you know, decades, but don't, you know, they literally just make a book. They'll you know.
Yeah, I mean,
try and make a book.
Shout out to Paul Johnson, bookmaker. He goes on track, and he was the only one apparently I've been reported today that went that basically bet proper place terms. Everybody else was 1/5, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the competitive York handicaps. I mean that's just
there's only your mate Jeff that does a quarter 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Very few of them do 5 places. There was one guy on the back row that does 5 places. You know, and I can just flip on my B36, my Denise Coates account and get 5 places or maybe 6. You know, I'm going to do it, aren't I? You know, it's just.
Yeah. How can you stand there? How can you stand there and offer shit terms, shit odds, you know, that's under Betfair, and expect people to come with the cash and stick it in the satchel? You can't. You have to do something.
But they just take the money that's there on the track. You know, the money that's there on the track is mostly mug money. You know, it's a funny one, really. It's neither one thing nor the other, is it? You know, it doesn't appeal to serious punters like me because there aren't any, or there aren't many. So they just you know, get every ounce they can out of it because they need to, because courses like ARC are absolutely screwing them over. You know, with the X's are just so off the chart, and the X's that you and I don't see. You know, they have to pay money for so-called sponsorship. You know, it's non-existent. It's you know, you get a bookmaker on here, Lee, and you'd wonder why they do it. And I know why they do it, because they're like greengrocers. It's like it's a generational thing, and they wouldn't know anything else. You know, but you know, you stand at market raising on a wet Tuesday in January, you think, what on earth possesses a man to do that?
Mm-hmm.
You know.
No,
but it's a way of life, isn't it? You know, and it's all they know, and they just get through the winter months and hope to just take all as much mug money as they can, you know, this time of year. And who cares if it's 3 or 4 places? You know, it's like a fifth or a quarter. You know what I mean? It's because there are no serious punters. You know.
Yeah,
but they must make a few quidly, because yesterday there was a lot of bookmakers at York and at the Dante. There's 4 rows of bookies. You know. And you just think, Jesus Christ,
They're
how
always
much?
moaning. You ought to see bookmakers Twitter. They're moaning. I mean,
Yeah.
I think did Comiscus leave the Curragh today? I think I saw on Twitter. I think Comiscus left the Curragh early. I could be wrong on this, but
Still loads of bookmakers. Yeah, but the point is that even if they went better odds, Lee, they wouldn't. They're just screwing themselves, because nobody on the track knows that that 5 places is better than 4. They literally just don't look, or they don't even understand. I mean, I was at Wetherby, the evening meeting about 3 weeks ago. Very brief story. It was about 20 minutes before the off of the second or third race. A bloke comes up and has £2 at 9 to 2 with this book I was chatting to, and it was either 5 or 11 to 2 next door. Yeah. But he's had 9 to 2 with this guy. Yeah, and the guy, and I was like, "What?" It's like,
Yeah, I know.
How sort of, and they're more concerned with repeat money. See, if you've got a guy with a bit of charisma, a bit of character on the stall, and then this has always been the thing. You can chat to anybody, chat to the girls especially. The girls will go back every race, bet with the same guy because he's friendly and all that sort of thing. And there are some books that are good at that. Whatever the price, it's just about the experience, isn't it? So
yeah, you need to watch some Barry Dennis videos on YouTube. They're hilarious, absolutely bloody hilarious. I urge anyone, just Google Barry Dennis and see the videos of Royal Ascot as he's taking money off ladies and things. It's absolutely fantastic. Anyway, we're going to finish here because we're absolutely well over time. Final question. Sean Thomas Bush.
Sorry?
Short from Sean Thomas Bush. I'm just telling you the questions from. Yeah. How's the molten scaffolder getting on?
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I think I answered this on Twitter. Basically, I mean, with due respect, I mean, why would you want her back after he's put his semen in her? I mean, it literally is. It's just unpleasant thinking, isn't it? Imagine getting back with her, and scaffolder welcomes the wife back.
Well, I say it must look like an explosion in a liver processing plant down there.
It's just, yeah. I mean, it's beyond comprehension. I mean, she get the marching orders. Down the street you go. Down the street. Keep walking, and that'd be it. But yeah, so that we don't know Sean Thomas Bush, but if we do, it'll be on this show as always. That's all from me, John, Adam. We're back on Friday. Oh, by the way, Fry's back in 2 weeks. She's doing the Derby show. She's hosting the Derby show. She's scrapped a trip to Vegas. She's obviously fell out with the tribute Elvis act, John.
She'd rather do the Derby than Elvis.
I think so. So Fry's back in 2 weeks for you Fry fanboys. So you can all get excited for that.
Should do a Derby competition or something and have a raffle for one of the thongs or something.
You should, Cheltenham Town thong. Match worn. Maybe even Alfie May signed. I'm sure she could sort that out. The strike, the Cheltenham striker. Yeah, he's got an XR3i apparently. That's what.
Nice.
That's what got her going, I think. So that
almost got me going now.
That's all from us. We're back on Friday. Bye for now.